Time to build some more. I think I noticed on the last one I wasn't too loud. Sorry for that. Collecting some braid. No matter where you get it, you can go wherever you want. But just trying to get it nice and uniform. This I'm just sizing appropriately for what it is. And also it's got a lot of protectant on it. That's why I use it. Hope I got a good set of cutters for this. See how good it cuts. Pretty good. Can't complain. The protectant on this stuff is sticky, so it's annoying for me to deal with, but nobody's gonna have to really deal with it themselves. There we go. I'll do it that way. Thank you. Y'all are sitting on top of my rag box, so I can't get my normal rags. We'll get right into, I guess, the interesting part of it. Most people don't understand much about direct feed or anything like that, so let's start with that. So, first things first, decide the terminal I'm going to use 4 gauge. I have some 1/0 somewhere, but I don't need it for this wire at this power threshold. So pretty much this is the concept. I can also do something else, which I will show you guys because this wire is small enough. It's gonna be a little bit of noise, but I can't really help that too much. Maybe I can use this rag. It won't be too bad on your ears. Probably won't work then. If I had a hammer, then it would be more useful. But all I did was just oblonged the shape of the terminal, so it's not a round terminal anymore. It fits better. Wick solder are good for me, it does what it needs to do. And I will not be using these red rags anymore. Those boogers leave residue. Alright, so I have a bench that can handle this, so it really doesn't matter what I do. So I can pretty much just do whatever I want. All I'm trying to do is just get soldered a wick in here. If I was really critical about it and I had a bench that couldn't handle this type of heat, what I'd do is just put it in a vise, put it in a grip, something. That way I don't have to worry about whether or not it will wick. But I shouldn't have to worry about this thing wicking too much. Kind of use that as a stand if I want to. Really just whatever I want. Evening time. Anybody who's hanging out, hello, hello. And then if that doesn't wick, this iron's not quite as strong as my other iron, so I do have a backup plan. If that's not quite strong enough, I can make a homemade vise. Pretty much just take any wire, anything with a weight, no matter what it is. Try not to burn myself. Torch, any type of torch. Just heat up the connector. Don't matter what it is. I don't have any smaller torch, so it's going to look a little overkill, but it is what it is. You guys can kind of have built a few of these. The reason it catches fire is because it's a little too much heat. As long as I don't burn the resin out, it really doesn't matter. So I just have to alternate heat. Can y'all feel the heat from over there? I normally have a fan running for this, but I mentioned in the last video, the fan's a little too noisy. This is the first one. I did not bring my little sprayer with me, so I don't have anything to cool it off fast except for breath. But what this is this is going to be a split feed for some 1/2-inch flex. So anybody who's got gammas, hairpin matches, or direct feed, or pretty much any of those, you just get you a terminal. You can direct feed it. Kind of concept like this. I'll go ahead and heat this one up. Add some more solder to it while I'm here. Done this with 1 5/8, done it with 7/8, done it with pretty much anything. Actually, I don't think I've done terminals for 7/8 yet. Let me not lie to you guys. I've done it for 1 5/8 a few times. And then, of course, I've done it for 213 probably more than a couple dozen times. And then all you're doing is just basically add enough heat for the solder to wick. You could build these split terminals yourself. It's not super complicated or difficult or anything like that. Solder is the best electrical connection. You'll get a bunch of people that tell you all sorts of different stuff, but solder, let me drop some heat off of this real quick. Solder is the best electrical connection. Crimp is the best mechanical connection. There's a difference between the two, so there's a reason why you do each one, and that's where a lot of confusion gets mixed in. There's some people that want to use a mixture of crimp and solder. You can do whatever you want, really, what it comes down to. But unless you're in a high stress environment and you're going to be jerking extremely hard on the wire, there's not an extreme need to do both. So you just pick one or the other. Of course, if you want to be extra, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can always, I've taken these connectors right here and literally crushed them and then wick solder inside them. So you can kind of do however you want. I've got they're over in another toolbox. This is the beginning of the split feed right here. From here, you'll have to worry about whether water gets into your wire or not. I need my measuring tape, so. This is going to be somewhat annoying. We'll see how this works out. Halfway there. Oh, works pretty good. I spoke too soon. Y'all see I'm doing actually half, so I'm doing something different. I was mixing up my builds. This one's got to go to another individual. Let me look back right here. I got a little book. Let me just do this. I always like to confirm whenever I'm doing something, so let's make sure I'm cutting to the right length for the right customer. Whenever you do these split feeds, you can do multiple different ways of connecting them, but the best way is not hose clamps. There's a lot of guys who use some hose clamps and stuff. You can do that, but I mean, you're really just asking for it. Okay, doke. I know what I'm doing now. I was measuring right, and here I am second guessing myself. If y'all hear a couple things falling, it's because they are falling. Whatever. Alright, so now let's start this over. Measure twice, cut once. I guess we'll use that philosophy there. need to get with me a nice little machinist. All right, let's go to y'all. There we go. Hello.
I can see that.
Yeah, I get to see my wonderful wife who lets me do this stuff whenever I don't need to be doing it.
I just now put the kids to bed.
I'll hear that. I got all night.
I let them stay a little later.
Sounds good.
Yep. They helped me put away laundry, and then I read them a story.
Sounds like a plan. What am I doing?
I don't know.
I'm on the, there we go. I was on the plier side. Alright guys.
Why is this end coming down so low?
Because I just stretched it out. Okie doke. So if you guys look, this is kind of a split feed for a mobile application. UHF connector here. Here. I'll determine total length after I'm done. Don't matter how I cut that because I'm gonna strip back again. So y'all can see kind of the concept.
How many watchers do you have?
8.
You have 8 people watching? I never get that many.
Oh Lord. we getting into the Facebook live conversations here. Alright guys. This is the split feed right here on the end of the split feed. You can click it and just look at the video yourself.
Hi, Hound Dog. If I watch you while I'm doing dishes, on this phone.
Oh, there you go.
I say that'll cut into my Gilmore Girls time.
Okay. Well, back on coax. Here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be splitting the outer jacket of the wire. Pretty much simple as this. Feet.
Or is it on the
browser? Actually, you can't watch live on the browser.
Smart. Do you not have a stand for your soldering iron?
Not yet. Thank you for reminding me.
Are you melting anything down?
No, I wouldn't. All right. Well, this.
Do you need anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go finish whatever I've got on the bed, put on clothes and stuff.
Okay. Alright, so now that y'all saw my little
Your little what?
distraction, I guess.
Is that what I am? Am I a distraction?
This is our soapbox on Wednesday night. Wednesday
night. It's Wednesday.
But what I'm doing
Please
is
don't put that so close to your face.
what I'm doing
Mothering
here.
you.
What I'm doing here is cutting the split feed here. Just FYI, don't copy me in front of your wife, or else she'll say the same things. Maybe. So this is actually corrugated copper. So I have a Dremel, but I'm trying to kind of keep the volume down for the video, or else nobody wants to hear a really noisy Dremel in there.
That looks good, man.
Yeah.
All this stuff comes out. I didn't even see that. Why did we get a Ryobi toolbox?
It's a vacuum.
We have a vacuum?
Y'all can either listen to the background or watch the video, one or the other.
I've been paying to vacuum my car and we had a vacuum?
It's been over at a pretty big box working on that.
When did we get a skill saw? And a jigsaw? Darren, what is that? What kind of saw is that?
What are you asking?
The one behind the toolbox.
It's a caulking gun.
Oh, it looks like a saw. You have a battery-powered caulking gun? When did you get all this? Was it in that bag?
It's been in the back of the Tahoe.
Wow. have it set up. It looks good.
Alright, well, go enjoy your
The
Gilmore.
drill needs to be hanging up though.
Alright, go enjoy your Gilmore Girls.
Oh, am I not welcome?
No, yeah, go.
Hey, ask Hound if he wants to do a demo for us.
You can ask him about that later. This is on a page. Uh-huh.
An ant bit me.
Y'all are not seeing any progress, guys. This is what happens when you start talking in the middle of the night. Sit down if you're gonna come over here.
I'm leaving.
All right, bye.
Another one. Okay, bye.
Love you. I'll see you in a minute.
Good night kisses for me.
It's turned into something different. Yeah. Yeah, no, I won't lose a finger. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you do not realize how much I've done this before. I can pretty much use any material. It really don't matter too much. Yeah, so I'm not really that concerned about it.
I'm gonna go pout.
You can, D-WiN's RF Supply soapbox. Now I'm holding up a... Dustin, no.
I hope you feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to sleep and dream about Darren cheating on me.
Oh, Lord. Well, D-WiN's RF Supply and soapbox channel. Alright, so now back to the split feed. You're not really going to have the same length on each one of them, because what I'm going to do on one is I'm going to use it as a wrap, and the other I'm going to just stick over the end right here. So it basically gives a concept of what's happening. So here's just making sure. Good evening and hello to everybody else out there. I'm not able to watch the comments, as y'all see my previous distraction. Here we go. Back on the split feed. Pretty much what I do is just tin the copper. You can get it. All you have to do is just get it hot, and you'll see it start wicking. Kind of the concept that most people lose when they're soldering is how much heat to apply and where to apply it. You're not trying to melt the solder, you're trying to heat up the source so the solder will wick. So if you look, the hotter I get, the more it travels around. So I never even touched an iron to the back, and it's already halfway down. So I don't think you guys can see as well as I believe. So sorry about that. I can't really quite get a professional stand in here or anything. I'm just in a bench that took me about 30 minutes to build, and in a place that I can get big wire into. That's the goal. Do I need any more of that flat braid? I have a ton of flat braid. I don't know exactly which flat braid you're really interested in. If you're trying to get meat, you say you need it, or do I need it? I'll try to look back at that in just a minute and see what you're asking about, Hound Dog. But what I do on this part is literally don't worry about the wrap, don't worry about anything else, just worry about the beginning of the braid. Tighten it up. Actually, let me just do this beforehand so you guys can see. So the goal is to have the braid somewhat tight so it's not spread out all around. That's just, to me, I'm kind of OCD about stuff like that. If I can tighten it up, I will. All I do is just hold the iron over the top of it and then see if I can get it to wick down. Don't add too much solder, because if you do, you'll have a nice little bubble right there. Looks like I'm going to end up having to have some sort of a bubble. But flip to the other side, tighten it up, and do the same. So at that point, the whole goal is just to have the wire kind of at least somewhat rigid, so I don't have to deal with it on the very end right there. From here, go back to the split feed. I just wrap. And then my extra tail that I have up here, I'll try to solder it first since I got some frayed wires. Try to solder the frayed wire first, and then from that point, just add heat. And I'm kind of going to be manipulating, but you don't really have to. It's not critical. This is perfect. You're going to be sealing this afterwards, so steal some solder. You could do this a little bit better if you had more of a vise. Like right now, I can use my hand as a guide and do it like that. Kind of modifying myself on the fly, because you can make anything work. You don't have to have the fanciest bench ever. I have much better supplies at other places, but it's just knowing what you're doing and putting the right amount of heat in the right place and kind of keeping an idea of what's going on. Like if I put too much heat on this wire, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to melt the insulator out of this, and it's no longer going to be good as a wire, and I'll have to start over with my split feed. So that's a good reason why I do what I do, and I do it the way I do. Now, of course, this wire is going to get hot, so you probably would want to use something else other than your fingers, but I've been using my fingers for a few years, so no big deal. You need flat braid. I don't know if I can provide that or not, but we'll check and see. I've got a bunch of little straps. You can take a look and see if that'll fit your bill or not. I don't think I put them on the video, so I'll have to take some pictures for you later, Hound Dog. And this part's just really the boring part. I'm just trying to get just enough heat built up to get it to bond on the other half of the wire. And what I'm doing is kind of rushing that process by adding a bubble of solder. When I heat the solder up, it heats the entire connection up around it, and then I can pull the wire in closer to it. See how it let loose right there? I gotta watch how much heat I put to the whole thing. Gotta let that side cool off and then start over. So what I'm gonna do while that's cooling off, since it tried to let loose on me, is start over here and go ahead and prep my end while that piece is cooling, since I don't have a good piece to cool with. What I'm gonna do on this one is literally just poke right here in the middle and have just enough room for the center conductor, and then try to mold my circle. So what I'm doing is just adding enough heat to get it to wick again, same thing. If you are not good enough at soldering, same concept applies. Just get something to hold it with where your hand's not getting too hot. Like right here, here's a simple method right here. Just set it down, let it cook, and believe it or not, the metal will actually wick some of the heat from my bench. But that's not really the concept. I'm just getting it away from my hands. Adding solder to the outside of this. I'm making kind of a hole. You can kind of look. There's just a little hole on the inside. I can tighten it up as it gets going. What's up, man? Waving. All my Hawaii guys are all up in atoms right now. I guess it ain't too late over here. It's only about 11. Back to my split feed over here. All I'm trying to do is go ahead and add some solder to this other side. Since I added too much heat a while ago and it started trying to run on me, so I'll come up with a different plan. It's not every plan's perfect. Nothing works out exactly how you want it every time. I don't care how long somebody's been in the business and how good somebody is. there's always something that goes wrong that you have to change up for. So the goal is not to be perfect, it's just to understand and adapt to what's coming next. Now I added enough solder on this end for the wire to bond before I add extra heat. So then at that point I've got two things and two places for the wire to bond, and we'll see if it does. And if you look, see if it's hot enough. So now at this point the wire is actually holding in that place. It's not super tight right there because that's not really what I wanted it to do. I can always add solder around the back side. Of course that's hot, so I just gotta be careful. And I can add solder around the back side as I go from here. So now that I got both sides at least kind of tack welded, I guess is what you'd call it, for all the welder guys out there. And then I just add whatever amount of solder it takes to make me happy. Keep an eye on the center, make sure it doesn't get too hot. Let's clean up my mess a little bit so you can see a little bit. This is kind of a nightmare being shredded. Y'all should have seen it when it was 20 minutes ago. I had about 20 pieces of 4/0 sitting everywhere. I had to get all that sorted and out of the way. This split feed takes a little bit longer than a normal one because I've got protectant on this wire. It's designed to be able to be buried directly in the ground, so it makes me a bit more confident in the fact of having a nice solid wire. Braid is not necessarily designed to be protected, or excuse me, used in an unprotected environment. I've got flat braid over there that I put on my Suburban, and you can use it, but you just have to worry about where it's at. Me personally, at least. I mean, there may be guys out there that run it for years and don't have any complaints, but me personally, if I can get a wire that's a little designed for the weather a bit more, then I'll go with it. That's kind of the end of the concept of the shield. Center conductor kind of goes right over the middle as I built it, and what I'll do is just tighten it up. So kind of use the bench as that tighten up procedure. See if I can. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is not the only way. This is definitely not my last revision. I'll definitely change up ideas if I find something that's going to be stronger or hold up better or anything like that. But as of now, this is a method that works pretty darn well and has worked for some pretty big operators. Pull the extra solder off, get it out of the way. There we go. This out real quick. Let's add some meat. And the key with any of this is just to make sure you have a decent amount of heat and you have enough of the joint to push out. Alright. That's pretty much the gist of this split feed. Pretty much. I'm going to be tidying up that right there, so I don't have to deal with it much with solder. But that's kind of the concept. Split feed right here. What I'm probably going to end up doing is take this back off and pull it and make it shorter, line up my length, and I'll have everything I need. I just wanted to show y'all start to finish what it is. This is 1/2 inch flex. It's literally not the hardest thing in the world to do. I'll match these up and test my length and then go ahead and recut them again. From this point, just get different sizes of solder and things like that. Whatever's going to work for the application. I've got pretty much every size that there is solder for heat shrink. For this one, it's going to be probably a stretched 3/8. That'll slide over. Which one's hotter? This one probably not as hot. So that'll slide pretty much over this right here. It slides over the terminal. So I'll cut a length about this long for it. And then if I want to have something to slide with, you can use anything you want. If I had some Vaseline here, I'd use some Vaseline. It really didn't matter. Just some sort of material to help it slide. And if it don't slide well enough for me, I'll just go grab some other material that works better. Yeah, I need something that slides better than that. So, try this. Much better. We'll do the other end. This is literally just white lithium grease. Just anything to help it slide, because I'm gonna seal it afterward. Vaseline's probably my favorite thing to use, just because it's easy. It's most commonly found pretty much anywhere. There you go. There's one covered terminal. I'll do more sealing in here just to seal it off. I'll do another sealed heat shrink right here, and then do another one right there. That's as simple as it can get for you if you guys want to do anything. So I'm gonna save those terminals for later. I'm gonna go on to the next one, and that's gonna be this one right here. This is a probably a connector some of y'all might have seen me do last time, but most of you haven't. So forgive the shake of the bench, we'll figure that. I'm gonna shim it up. So let me get this water real quick, wrap it up before I trip up on it. It's something you can do with some flex. I think I have some zip ties around here somewhere, but I'll deal with them later. So, get the box. That box. There we go. I already got one. So I'll show you all. Next piece is, I'm going to have to put a shim under this bench. This stuff right here. Last of the Mohicans here. These will not be around much more. There's only I would say a select few left around, but it's a UHF connector for 1/2 inch. This is Andrews right here. Load up. I don't have many UHF connectors for 1/2 inch, so I have to build and pretty much design whatever I want to work. Got my other end over here. See if I got enough links. Maybe I can snag this in to show you guys. Decide where I want to put all this stuff. Forgive the mess. I've built a rack so I can balance my wire. I'm going to figure out where I want to put everything. And works good for a left-handed bench, the way I got everything laid out, but I am not left-handed, so it makes things a bit more difficult. Not being left-handed. This is split feed. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut it back, and I'll have this right here on there. I've got to decide where I want to put it, and I'll use what I used last time, which worked surprisingly well, which I amazingly forgot about earlier. This is not what this is, but it works extremely well, believe it or not. I was complaining on the last one that I didn't have a knife, and it doesn't really matter because that thing cut the copper better than the knife could have. Kind of got me interested. I'll fix the camera real quick. This is literally something for you guys. Go at it, whatever. If you've never seen a 1/2 inch done, you see it now. This is 1/2 inch flex right here. I'm gonna go with y'all. I'm just scouring the outside of the copper, and once I cut it deep enough, it literally comes right off. The thing you want to avoid with anything to do with stuff like this, any corrugation, is avoid using any major moving parts, because all you're going to do, like with a sawtooth blade, I can use the Dremel myself, but I don't recommend for other people to do it, because when you do, that's the easiest way in the world to leave shavings inside, and that's what makes connectors fail. So, just a FYI, be careful with that. Don't care how you cut your copper, just cut it with that in mind. I think I'm running out of bench space here. What I'm doing here is just literally just cleaning up my shield at this point, because I've got to knock that little edge off the end of this one. From there, take this center conductor, or just center shield, whatever, polyethylene, I can't remember what it is for 1/2 inch. You got Teflon PTFE, which is pretty much it's nicknamed Teflon, but it's not actually polyethyl fluoride or whatever the heck it's called for the actual name. And PTFE is the acronym for it. Each insulator, or each of the dielectrics that's used, is what determines velocity factor. So that's why you hear different velocity factors for different wires. It's not really as complicated as people make it out to be. Some special coax or some special piece. What I do with this, since it's not exactly the same connector as what I guess would originally be intended for this, I like to solder just because if I have the opportunity, I will do it, especially with UHF, because UHF connectors are not rated for a lot of power. You guys can see back up. care if y'all see me or not. All right. This UHF connectors, I don't really recommend for anything over about 6,000 watts. There are other people who would rate it less than that, and there are some people who want to try to say it's more than that. But let's just say 6,000, just to throw an even number out there. Anybody who runs anything larger than, like, say, a 4-tuber or a 4-tube 500Z or more than a single 4-1000 should really get off of PL259s. There's plenty of people that run larger, but it's not a smart idea. Let's see if I can tidy this up, maybe put this somewhere else, build another stand in the next 2 seconds for you guys. There you go, maybe. Ta-da. Somebody tell me how to make a good stand out of this bench, and I'll do it. I won't be able to see your comments anymore because I just blocked myself from seeing it. So if anybody says anything, hello, hello, wave a hand and all that jazz. So pretty much y'all can just see what I'm doing and I'll respond to it later. This wire is very large, very annoying, and very fun to deal with. Only for building, really, not for running yourself because it's fairly flexible. You can kind of see why I have a bench built where I do, because even in this video, dropped multiple items as I've moved, just because I'm manipulating the wire, and as I manipulate the wire, it knocks something else over. It's like a big goofy dog standing there beside you, wagging its tail and knocking everything over. Not as bad as the biggest wire, but I could probably relay out my bench and have it set up a little better. What I'm doing is just soldering the shield. Same concept. A lot of people think you need to add solder to everything and just keep sticking the solder on the iron, or excuse me, sticking the solder on the source. What you're doing is trying to heat up the source enough to wick solder. So don't just keep adding solder if it's not sucking in. So it should look like it's drawing in, like, I guess, water falling into a gopher hole. I don't know what the good word would be. But you should see it wick in. That's the goal. If you see it bubbled on the outside, you did not do a good job. And I don't care who you are. Now, a round smooth joint on the outside is fine, but a bubbled outcropping, like something like that over there, that's kind of a no-no. Can't really see it. I can't make it very big because I don't want to have to redo this. But same concept. That bubble right there. And what I'll do in this situation, just bump it off and clean up my mess. There you go. Now you see shield solder. So, center conductor right here. Let me close, so what I'll do is chop some. This is the this wire's good for, I would say, I did say a little higher number last time, but I would probably kind of conservative, put that a little bit more conservative. I'd say around 10 or 11,000 watts average, and I said half inch was good for around 20, 22,000. I would probably back that off to say 15,000 or so, because I'd rather not somebody run something large on there and be right at the limits of the wire because of my recommendation. So that's where I'd stop. This wire right here will run what it needs to run, and will do more than what I claim, but I'm not gonna recommend that. Anybody who runs this wire, try to stay within what I recommend, because it's not that much more to go a bigger wire. I'll be trying to run no pair of threes on this. do these videos just because I really don't care if anybody sees me building wire. They can always build it for themselves and save themselves the money that it costs for me to do this. It's not terribly difficult. It does take some skill, but it's not completely impossible for people to do. What I'm doing now is the tedious part for me, which is lining up this interconductor. Alright, so at this point I just need any type of material to tighten this up. Got pliers, I have wrenches for this, I have pretty much whatever I need. I'm just starting it right here, and I'll just tighten that down. I've got my wrenches, so I'm going to wait until I get my wrenches to use them. Kind of the concept, I mean, y'all saw a split feed, y'all saw a regular PL259. I've got DIN, I've got other connectors and things like that I've got to get done, but this is just kind of something for y'all to see. I won't let it go for as long as I did the last one. I'll probably do just 30 minutes so far. So, yep, that's what all I did. That's a split feed, a UHF right here. I still got to do a few more things with that. There's more wire for me to do right there, and some more 1/4-inch flex right over there. And there's my little homemade rack up there for the other 1/2-inch flex. So, yeah, hope you guys learned a little bit about soldering. So, nothing special. I'm going to get to a little bit more, I guess, loud and noisy work and turn my fan back on. Catch you guys later, and maybe y'all enjoyed it. See y'all.